All right, so continuing on with our water heater installation and applicable codes, a couple things that came up last week are going to be the topic of this short video today. So we're looking at the International Fuel and Gas Code. We see in our photo there's a water heater on a stand. Why? Because of the elevation of ignition source. What the situation that actually come in is we went to a customer's home, we replaced their water heater. The old unit was on a stand. We put the new unit on directly on the garage floor. We did not include a stand. And then they were selling the home, and the home inspector said, hey, this unit has to be on a stand. And we said, no, it doesn't have to be. So why is that? So let's consider first of all what the code says. The IFGC 305.3, elevation of ignition source. Equipment and appliances having an ignition source shall be elevated such that the source of the ignition shall not be less than 18 inches above the floor in hazardous spaces and public garages, private garages, repair garages, etc. We get it. In the garage, they want the ignition source no less than 18 inches off the floor. That is the point of a water heater stand. We see in our picture we have a standard atmospheric vent. It's not hooked up, but that is what's considered that burner on the base. That's an ignition source. So why did we say we did not have to have ours off the floor? Well, there's an exception to this code. The exception to this code says the elevation of the ignition source is not required for appliances that are listed as flammable vapor ignition resistant, or FVIR for short. So this is in the picture an A.O. Smith direct vent. That's what we put in the customer's home. Now they had a direct vent in the customer's home. However, the new model was the same equal gallons as what we were replacing, but it was taller because it was a different manufacturer, and of course things change over time. So it was taller, and the problem was the vent, if we reused the same opening through the wall for that vent, intake and vent, we would have had a backdrafting situation where it would have had to go up and back down, and we cannot do that. We cannot backdraft the exhaust vent ever. So we actually had to lower the water heater by removing the stand. But direct vent units, such as A.O. Smith and Rheem, they are listed as FVIR units. They are flammable vapor ignition resistant. Of course, we know that they exchange all of their air with the outside. They don't use air within the garage. They're a sealed unit. The flame is in the unit that's sealed, and it only reacts with air outside. That's why these are flammable vapor ignition resistant, because they're not interacting with the air in the garage. Any fuel vapor that could potentially exist hanging out around the floor in the garage, it doesn't bother this unit because the ignition source is not exposed to that air. It's only exposed to the outside air. So therefore, direct vent units are FVIR compliant, and you'll see that in the manuals on the units. So that's why we told them that it did not have to be elevated on a stand in this instance. And the inspector was simply a home inspector. He wasn't a county inspector. He wasn't a code official. Just the folks were selling the home, and so you have these home inspectors, and they take a little online class, or sometimes they go to a community college. But so they're familiar with the codes, but they are not as well adept at the codes as those of us who were in the business every day. So we were able to provide these code references to the homeowner so that they could show their home inspector, so that the new homeowners could be notified that their current water heater was up to code. So now let's talk about our next situation. And this is again in the IFGC, and it is 303.3 prohibited locations. So we had a unit on Friday night, showed up to the home. It was a gas water heater located in a closet off of a bedroom, a child's bedroom, no less. This is a no-no. We see in our photo we've got a couple standard atmospheric vent units in a bathroom. I'm not sure what country this is in, but again, these are prohibited locations. So let's see what this 303.3 says. It says appliances, and a water heater is considered an appliance. It's a gas appliance. And because this is the gas code, we're only talking about gas appliances. Appliances shall not be located in sleeping rooms, bathrooms, toilet rooms, storage closets, or surgical rooms, or in a space that opens only into such rooms or spaces where the installation complies with one of the following. So there are 5 exceptions that follow. Only 1 and 5 apply to us in the water heater business. The other 3 have to do with heaters and type. So we're only going to discuss number 1 and 5. When can we do this? So in this case, we showed up. There's a atmospheric vent water heater in a child's closet. That is, those are sources of potential carbon monoxide. If they're not burning properly, they can produce, even when they're burning properly, they're going to produce small amounts of carbon monoxide. But because they are carbon monoxide producers, especially if something goes wrong, gas gets full of trash, a bird makes a nest inside the vent, or a wasp nest, and it inhibits the airflow, and these things happen. This unit could begin to burn improperly and produce carbon monoxide. So we see the danger of having them in a bedroom closet, because a person unaware of that could die in their sleep if something like this were to happen. But let's look at the 2 exceptions and see when it's okay to do this. So the exception number 1, the appliance is a direct vent appliance installed in accordance with the conditions of the listing and the manufacturer's instructions. So a properly installed direct vent appliance. So a direct vent water heater would make sense. Why? Because if it produces carbon monoxide, it's going to pump it to the outside. It gets its air from the outside. So the size of the closet has nothing to do with the amount of air supply. A closet sometimes is smaller. And with an atmospheric vent, it could simply be that it's not large enough to produce enough oxygen to properly burn the fuel. That will cause carbon monoxide. Direct vent, you won't have that problem. If it does get some trash in the gas and begins to make a little carbon monoxide, it's going to spew that outside. It's not going to be open to the room. Number 5, exception number 5. Remember 2 through 4 not applicable to us in the water heater business. Number 5 says the appliance is installed in a room or space that opens only into a bedroom or bathroom, and such room or space is used for no other purpose and is provided with a solid weather strip door equipped with an approved automatic self-closing device. All combustion air shall be taken directly from the outdoors in accordance with 304.6. So this is, again, a rare situation, and we'll look at 304.6 gives us several illustrations as how this can happen. So we'll look at those in just a second. But this is going to be a rare situation. I've only seen this one time where it was off of a bedroom closet. Again, notice the room, it can only be used for those appliances. It can't be a water heater plus the closet. There can't be stuff stored in there. There can't be clothes hanging in there. It has to be only for that use. It has to have a solid, not a hollow core door like you find inside, like an exterior door. A solid door. It has to be weather stripped like an exterior door. And it has to be equipped with an automatic self-closing device, approved automatic self-closing device. So basically we're sealing that air that's in that room off from that bedroom is what we're trying to do here. And then it says all combustion air shall be taken directly from the outdoors. So even if we're talking about an atmospheric vent unit, it's got to be ducted so that it can get its air from the outside. It's going to be vented out so that that air goes outside, and it's going to be drawing its fresh air, not from the closet, not from the bedroom, but from the outdoors. So I'm going to show you an illustration in 304.6. So there are several. There are several illustrations, but this is just one example. Here we see a room. It has a water heater and a furnace in it. You've got your outlet air duct and your inlet air duct. They're going straight to the outside. So with a door that is properly weather stripped on this room, let's say this opens into a bedroom, there's no air coming from that bedroom. The air is coming from the outside completely. If this unit should begin to produce some carbon monoxide, and let's say some does leak out of the venting, it's not going to get into the sleeping room or the bedroom or the bathroom because of that weather strip door. It's going to keep that air, and then you've got your fresh air ducts to allow that air to circulate to get that carbon monoxide out of the home. So this is the only 2 times that we can put a gas water heater in a bathroom, a bedroom, or a closet off of one of those rooms is one of these two situations. It's got to be a direct vent heater, or it has to be set up like this illustration in 304.6. Again, these aren't things we're going to find every day, but when we do walk into these situations, it's important that we know how to safely install water heaters because, of course, carbon monoxide can cause death, so it's a serious safety risk. So that's all we'll discuss for today on this video. We'll discuss more codes coming up.